All right, Panther Nation. What's up? What's up? We're here, Big Brother A, Big Brother J, back with you, Carolina Boys, Frathouse Podcast. You know, we had to get to you because we got a new free agent signing that, we had to discuss. But before we get into that, Big Brother J, how's it going?
Man, I'm cooling, man. Getting caught up on all these little updates and everything the Panthers got going. Also, a bunch of Lakers stuff too, man. So I just been, locked in, man, doing the whole work thing, doing the whole future planning thing, and doing the whole side hustle thing, all that, and trying to get caught up with all this Panther news. And it seems to be some new stuff going on every day, man. What's up with you, bro? How are you?
Yeah, man, it's Friday Eve. I'm just looking forward to the weekend, man. It's been a busy week, but still doing well for the most part. Uh, let's before we get into the main topic, let's get into some of these injuries. So Chuba Hubbard came down with a hamstring injury. This is sort of like the third hamstring injury that our team has had recently with Haynes King. Chris Brazil actually had a hamstring injury before we discovered it as an LCL injury. We've had Xavier Legette go down with a hamstring injury. Derek Brown is not fully practicing, dealing with a hamstring injury. What's going on, man?
What's with the hammies, man?
Yeah. I don't know what our strength and conditioning staff is doing, but way too many hamstring injuries. Way too many injuries of the same kind. Chuba is week to week, and but he should be ready for the start of the season. Mm-hmm. So how you feel about Chuba Hubbard?
All right. So here's the thing, right? I like Chuba. Much love for him, everything he's done. He's a Panther through and through. We drafted him. He's given his heart and soul for the team. And because of that alone, it's like, I'm going to root for him and I'm going to want the best for him. As long as you're wearing our jerseys, man, I want you to be the best. But if I'm being truthful, it's like, I think like certain things have kind of balanced out with Chuba. It's like when he got the big contract, we all like, it was like, nah, man, he deserved that. He worked hard and everything like that. I'm not gonna say everybody, but majority of the people, I'll say me included, kind of felt like, all right, man, he's that guy as far as in the running back room. Then we had like Rico Dowdle come in the picture and do these like back-to-back 200-yard games and everything. And then we saw that not that Chuba wasn't good, but that there's another level, there's another tier. And I think that like with us, trading off Dowdle and, sticking with Chuba, even when we talked about like him coming back, in the season and, us giving up the hot hand, to go with split carries again. I think like all of that played a part in the narrative. So then we get rid of Dowdle. People like me felt like, bro, we should have tried to figure out what we could do to keep Dowdle. Period. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really understand why we did that, but we've got a history of letting good running backs go for whatever reason. Mike Davis and other ones that really had good seasons for us, we just let them go for like nothing, but whatever. But I would say all of that makes me feel like now with him dealing with the injury again, because he was injured most of last season, which is why he was saying he didn't perform at his best. Him dealing with the injury again, it's like it. I don't know. It kind of makes me concerned about like the season moving forward. Will we get to see Chuba at his best at all, or are we going to see another injury of Chuba not being what he said he could have been? And respect to Chuba, because I do think he's a really good back, but even when he was at his healthiest, I don't ever remember him running 200 yards. And it's like, that's not a thing that everybody does. You can't compare everybody to Rico Dowdle. What I'm saying is, when somebody comes in and does something that extraordinary and they're not rewarded for it, and, you give that back to somebody else, it kind of can make people wonder why, you know. So I like Chuba. I wish him first off to get healthy. I hope he has a really good season. But yeah, I'm just interested to see what's gonna happen with the running back this year. What you think, bro?
Yeah, Trouba's getting older, and that's, the main thing that happened with older running backs. They start getting nagging injuries. He was injured last year. Uh, I just think, he's getting older. I think he's a, good running back. Slightly good. It's very solid running back. And, he came, he was here during a, really, good period where we needed him. I just say a really bad period where we really needed him. But like you said, man, we I got high expectations for our running backs, especially since we sort of built our team around like strong running game and strong linebackers trying to emulate the Steelers. So, we've had great running backs: Jonathan Stewart, D'Angelo Williams, Stephen Davis, even Deshaun Foster when he was healthy. Like I said, I'll even throw in like Mike Tolbert, fullback. And I think Chuba has been good. It's just that, last year when we were down and actually almost about to be out, Rico Dotto
You
came
might have
through.
gone out there for a second, bro. I don't really hear you right
Uh
now.
oh.
Maybe it's me. Um, Everybody's listening. Hold on for a second. Bear with us.
Mm-hmm. Can you hear
Oh,
me?
there we go. I can hear you
Okay.
now.
Okay. Yeah. We were going through a moment where Rico Dotto basically saved our season. We were down 1-3
Yes.
and down 17-0 to the Miami Dolphins, and Rico Dotto came through with a 200-yard game,
And nuclear.
nuclear to win that game, and then we won the next game against the Cowboys with another 200-yard rushing game, and
Super Saiyan.
I know the narrative is that Rico Dotto slowed down, but we actually slowed him down. Okay, we slowed him down when we started splitting carries and we took uh, Rico Dotto out of his groove. We slowed Rico Dotto down. He actually was still performing pretty well when he got touches. Um, what I'm worried about with Chuba is he's hurt, and I'm wondering if the guys behind him are ready to take a bigger role. Because what if Chuba is just decent, but is dealing with nagging injuries from now on, and what if Jonathan Brooks is asked to take on more of a bulk carry role. He's coming back from two season-ending injuries. I'm not sure he can. We don't know if he can handle that workload, and who knows if he might be can do well in a shared workload. We don't know. It's just a lot of question marks. I'm worried about, like I said, our sort of reliance on him to solidify the running back court. But speaking of Jonathan Brooks, he will play in the preseason game Saturday. So he will play against the Bills. They want to see him in action. I want to see him in action. Uh, Now, how do you feel about Jonathan Brooks?
So I didn't want to cut you off, but I agree with you, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say my perspective is this. Um, I'm I want Jonathan Brooks to have a healthy season. Let's start off by with that. One of the things that elephant in the room is he's had back to back unhealthy seasons. We haven't really seen him play any real football since like he was in college. All right, now that that's the elephant in the room. That bothers me. It's like it bothers everybody else. I want that to be the case that he can stay healthy and just be an animal from here on out. One of the things that has made me feel better about that situation is, hearing that even though unfortunate as it was during the time frame, was that the fact that he got re-injured based on the fact that the original surgery apparently did not, wasn't performed properly, and that makes me feel a little bit better about like, well, that wasn't his body just not doing what it was supposed to do. That was unfortunately the surgeons not doing what they were supposed to do, so his body responded to that. And that's not really on him if that's the case. So hopefully and prayerfully, he's in a situation now where he's fully healed. He looks good, and I just think that like with so many injuries that have happened early in the season, it's kind of making everybody on eggshells right now. But God willing, God bless him. Hopefully, he stays healthy, and we don't have that to be concerned about or worry about. I do believe that this guy could be the X factor if he's healthy. I do believe he has number one back, workhorse back capabilities. I do believe he has the breakaway capabilities to make the big plays. I do believe that he could be that guy that could get us 150 yards, maybe get to 200 yards if he stays healthy and everything else falls in place. Where that puts Chuba, I don't know. The backs behind him, I don't know. If we look at A.J. Dillon, called by A.J. Dillon is not a spring chicken. I do believe he can play pretty well, but you know how these teams are looking to like not commit to guys who are a little older, especially running back position.
Yeah.
So I don't know that he's invested in as a long-term option. I could say, what's the other guy? Etienne. Like I believe that he's good, but he's shown to be maybe solid. He's shown to be more productive in the special teams game right now. But except for that fumble, which it happens, but that hurt my feelings. But either without the drop pass, whatever, drop catch, whatever. Here's the thing though. I think he can hopefully show that he can at least be solid this year. Then that gives some a little bit more depth in a hierarchy behind a healthy Jonathan Brooks. The other guy we saw, what's his name? Cyrus Tyus, whatever, the dude that fumbled, I was mad about, and then he got the touchdown. He looks okay so far. So I don't know. Like we have pieces there, but it's like I think a healthy Jonathan Brooks becomes that running back of the future. And then at that point, it makes me wonder, what do we do with Chuba? Do we extend him for like maybe 2 more years? I think this is last year on the contract. But at that point, like, what do we do with Chuba? Like, what do you think we go from there, bro?
I think this should be. I think if we extend Chuba, it should be for 1 year. I think it's either this is last year or the next year should be his last year. I think like I said, his time is winding down. So I think we really need, and I think this is why they want Jonathan Brooks to go ahead and play. I think that we really need him to be our running back for the future and actually take the mantle from Chuba Hubbard. And to be honest, I believe for our offense to work to the best of its ability, Jonathan Brooks, along with Chuba, he has to be a really good running back. Like a really good running back, because that's going to just open things up for the rest of the offense. And if we judge off how Bryce has been playing in the past and last year, he needs a very strong running game to feel comfortable passing. We know that Chuba can give him a decent running game, but like a strong, like, hey, this guy capable of putting up 200 yards, like you said, 150, 200, we might need like that type of threat. And Jonathan Brooks, I'm hoping he can offer that. But we'll see how he played in this upcoming preseason game. Like I said, you pretty much nailed everything. I don't need to really add anything else. Let's go to the next little quick. Practices gotten a lot more physical, and Dave Canales, he spoke and he said, he welcomes the competitive nature that the practices have taken on. He feel like that's gonna bolster the offense and defense and make the team overall better and just more competitive during the season. Now this is a little different than what were used to under Canales, where we took practice sort of light, we took preseason sort of light. So two specific things where there's got a little chippy after your guy Lathan Ransom laid out the running back. Then Mike Jackson was jawing at Bryce in the offense, and then the next day Lathan Ransom went right back at it and laid out Jashawn Reed, wide receiver. So the defense is not afraid to keep going. Now, I'll just say this before I turn over to you, man. This is what I've been waiting for our team to do since Canales joined as head coach. Like, we need more, swagger on the team. And the defense has it. I'm waiting for the offense to gain that type of swagger that the defense is showing right now. What do you think?
I agree, man. I think if you look at it, the defenses, even with some of the stuff that has happened, they're starting to kind of find their groove. They're making plays. I feel like the offense is making plays in practice and everything like that. I'm definitely seeing some plays on their side of the ball. It got me kind of like a little hype. Like T-Mac is over here. Mm-hmm. Everybody's pretty much caught a one-handed pass at this point. That's looked good. But I get what you're saying about to see a little bit more swagger, a little bit more attitude coming from there. Like, shout out to my boy Lathan Ransom. He's a savage. All right, light-skinned savages in the building. You already know. I'm rocking with the homie. I do want him to not hurt nobody though. That's my only thing. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm like, go hard and in practice. Let them know you ain't playing. I get that you an animal. You getting that number one spot and everything, but the injury bug kind of got me like, all right, like, cause I'm all in for the physical practices, but I just at the same time it's like I want us to be careful. That's the only thing I'm concerned about. But to your point, bro, I 1,000% agree with you. We were concerned. You and I have had multiple conversations about when they weren't playing these guys in the preseason game, and then the brief showing that we would see them to be like, we get, no real movement down the field, 3 and outs and everything. We were like, bro, what's going on here? Like, why is this don't look like this is a complete offense, like we're ready. And then surprise, surprise, we get into the season, early on we struggle. Like we talked about like the beginning game, but like we played Jacksonville and all that, just the years of the first game, like it don't go well, and we like, dog, we were saying that there weren't enough real live reps in the preseason, and you thought that they were ready, but they weren't. And I kind of feel like at this point, that's one of the things that I want to see. All of the kinks and bugs and everything is worked out via practice. You were able to determine who's going to be able to hit for real when it's time to put them out there. You're seeing that in practice. You're elevating them doing the preseason game and giving these guys some burn. But I do feel like the physical practices are now starting to be that iron sharpens iron thing. And I'm excited about that, long as it's safe. I got to keep saying that, bro, because I'm still sad about Nick Scorton and Chris Brazzell. I'm not saying that was happening because of that. I'm just saying I don't want no more bad injuries, bro, at all. Mm-hmm. But other than that, yes, man, I'm hype about the physical practices. I'm hype about us getting back to putting these guys out and making them, like, gain these spots, earn these spots, keep these spots. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't want to see just you handing over the reins to somebody just because they were there. If somebody else is challenging them, I want to see them get a chance. So hopefully, man, all of these things are going to play into when we cut down to the 53-man roster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Like, listen, Ransom, you already set the tone. We don't need to lay out anybody else.
So, nobody else, bro.
Yeah. Listen, we already know you got that, listen, you are that no-fly zone in the area, okay? But I agree, man. Like I think this overall is going to be better for D. And I'm thankful nobody else has been hurt from this
Yeah.
increased intensity. And like I said, let's this carry over for the second and the third preseason game. Um, yeah, like I said, finally, basically, finally. Uh, Now, next, and like I said, this is the main thing we're going to discuss. Yesterday we signed Darren Waller, tight end. Okay, let's go over to this our little analysis section, and let's talk a little bit more in depth about Darren Waller. All right, so some quick notes about Darren Waller. All right, right now he's age 33. Okay, 9-year pro. He started with Baltimore. He actually retired in 2023 with the Raiders. Okay, he had 2 Pro Bowl years, 2019, 2020. Ran into some injuries, decided to retire. But then he came back to the league last year with the Dolphins. Okay, and that's actually where he has his connection. Our assistant head coach and passing game coordinator right now, Daryl Bevel, actually was worked with him with the Dolphins last year. So that's the connection on how why maybe the Panthers was looking at him. When we played the Dolphins, okay, he had 5 catches for 78 yards and a touchdown in the first half. Okay, against us, and the Dolphins were up on us 17-0. All right, now we did come back and win that game, but Darren Waller actually played well against us. He ended the season with just 283 yards, but he had 6 touchdowns, and he only started 3 games, but he played in 9, and he was hurt in a couple others. So, he's been hurt in a lot of his recent seasons. This past season, including and before he retired, that season as well. And if you want to know anything else, he's a wannabe T-Pain. I don't know if you saw his. He got a music video out called "She Know." It's like 100% auto tune.
Oh snap! Now I gotta check that.
Yeah, check it, man. Listen, it's 100% auto tune, man.
And he
Uh,
30 plus, so he actually know about T Pain for real, probably.
Probably, man. He got to have some connection to either TP or somebody else, because like I said, he went straight auto tune for that music video, man. But but you tell me, what was your first thought when you saw the alert that we signed Darren Waller?
So I immediately ran to the highlights like I always do because I remember his name. I'm not gonna claim like I was super familiar with him. Once I like remembered that was the dude that carved us up with the Dolphins, I was like, oh okay, yeah, he got busy when he played us. He did pretty good, so I was like, all right. I think I was looking at it like what we were saying earlier. We were talking. It was something that they saw was missing still on this practice. Like because for us to have what 4 tight ends in the room now, and the option is not on the roster, I think that I was like several things. I was like shout out to Dan because once I saw, what this dude was capable of, and I really checked out the highlights, and even I'm seeing like Miami Dolphins fans being like, "Hey man, coming from a Dolphins fan, Panthers, this is a steal." Anytime you see that, like as a
Mm-hmm.
fan base, I've said that before. Like when C-Mac went to 49ers, I'm not saying this guy's C-Mac's up. I'm just saying like the 49ers, I had to go there and be like, bro, we sad to see him go, but he's a steal, man. Y'all got him. God bless him, man. Wish y'all well. I was seeing certain people saying that. So I was like, okay, even his old fan base rocks with him. So I like that. I was wondering, well, why were we able to get him? And then, like you and I were talking, he was like, he's getting older. Like, you know what I'm saying? When you're 33 in football, it's like being like, I don't know, better add like 15 years of that and like to football years or whatever. But I was looking at it like, one, shout out to Dan because you still working, bro. You out here making moves after we thought the moves was all made. You still making moves. And it made me wonder how are they viewing these the tight end room. And then honestly, kind of like I was telling you earlier, it made me think about with the tight end room, like what am I missing? Like Jatavion Sanders, we was looking at, he was going to be the receiving tight end, and he was going to be that guy that made the difference. And unfortunately, he's going through some things he haven't really been as successful as we thought. Especially, a lot of people say maybe because after that injury, he got a little bit more timid, which was a scary injury. I get it, but when we look at the other two tight ends, Tommy Tremble and what's my young boy name?
Mitchell Evans.
Yeah, Mitchell Evans. If I'm not mistaken, I think both of them would be blocking tight ends, right?
Right.
So with us having these blocking tight ends, remember I was telling you earlier, bro, to be honest, sometimes I'm so busy caught up in the play when I'm watching live action that I'm watching for the actual playmakers to the point that I might not see the person that helped the play be made. So I need to see that sometimes in a highlight. So if we got a tight end there and I haven't seen him make a catch all game, in my mind, he ain't do nothing. But maybe he had some really good blocks and that's why he's on the roster. But if you don't have any tight ends making any plays and making any catches and they're on the field at some point, then it makes you wonder, where is the catching option? Right. Especially us having that history of having like Greg Olsen. We've had some good tight ends. One of the great ones, I feel like Greg Olsen is more like, so I feel like it makes me wonder, like, what were they seeing? What made them, like, make this move? Or was it like, bro, this guy is a good player. He still got some gas in the tank. We're gonna bring him in. Either way, I'm excited about the signing because I believe it's bringing something to the table that we did not have. At least we could say that we've recently seen this guy ball out, catching the ball, and last season, and it was against us. So I think like this overall move has me kind of like, I'm happy about it. I would say it like that.
Yeah. My first immediate thought, sort of like with you, I was like, man, what is the tight end room doing? Because they're about to shake it up. And but I was actually real happy. This signing lets me know that we're really evaluating different spots on our team, and I think Canales and Isnick really want to utilize a receiving tight end, and the problem is it just seemed like we don't have that tight end in our didn't have it in our tight end room until now. So we haven't had really potential in that spot since Greg Olsen. We really, if you think back to like how our tight end room was back in like 2008 when we had Double Trouble and we had Jeff King, Dante Rosario, and Gary Barnidge. Dante Rosario and Gary Barnidge was able to sort of hold down the tight end room from a receiving part, even though they didn't get that many opportunities. And but yeah, I think this is actually a big indictment on Jatavion Sanders. I was checking some forums and I saw an old interview. I wouldn't say too old, but somewhat recent interview he did with the reporter Sheena Quick, Panthers reporter, and she mentioned that Jatavion Sanders started off as the tight end number 1 in 2025, and now he's listed at tight end number 3, and he sort of sounded like not say checked out, but didn't sound confident. And maybe that's not like you said, not coming out in his play. Like we understand he really did have a serious neck injury. Seemed like maybe that affected just his confidence in general. But I'm glad the coaches are noticing it, and I'm looking at this. I'm looking at like the open competition between Trevor Wallace at middle linebacker. I do like that it seems like our coaches actually are analyzing our players and want them to compete and like, really going over some weaknesses that we've that's been apparent to Panther Nation for a while. Darren Waller, he doesn't have to start. That's the good thing, I know, he's had to deal with injuries. He's a little bit older. All we have to do is just bring him in on red zone opportunities or third down. Mitchell Evans and Tommy Tremble can still hold down, the blocking. And hopefully Mitchell Evans can offer a little bit more wiggle in the pass game. But I think Darren Waller sort of really solidifies that tight end room. And even if he's, listed at tight end 1, he doesn't have to play many snaps. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have to play 80% of the snaps. Yeah. So, I think he's going to be good, man. I think he's going to be real good. I really want to see how we use him in the offense. I'm actually a little excited because I want to see this offense, come together, and I want to see at least a vision for the offense. I've been waiting on that since Canales became head coach, and it seemed like we have moments, but we sort of settle on a good run game and play action. And we got good weapons, man, with T-Mac, with Jalen Coker. I want to see the passing game evolve. And I think Darren Waller is really going to help our passing game evolve even more. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully if they, if we can, play up to our potential. 6 touchdowns, man, in just really, 9 games. I think our tight ends only had maybe 1 or 2 touchdowns all of last year. All of them.
I really was thinking about that.
Man, yeah, listen, man, that alone should say what it is right there. My man is, my man is 6'6". Okay, we got a very tall, athletic dude. Hopefully still, and we've seen can still ball. I like the intent of the signing. So, like you said, shout out to Dan Morgan. He seemed like he's really good at, filling spots. I have to see if they give the numbers for his contract. We were looking at David Njoku before the draft, and he ended up signing with the Chargers. It was just it was a 1-year deal, $3 million, but the incentives went up to $8 million. I wonder if the deal for Darren Waller is similar or a little bit lower. I'm going to assume it's a little bit lower. So if we got him for let's say $2 million, I think that's a steal. Because
I suppose it was 1 year though. You think it's just because of his age?
Yeah, just his age. I think just, older, we're probably thinking, we're probably the last stop for him or just, the thing with him, because he stepped away, he actually, seemed like it took some time to get his mind right. And, he could play, a little, he possibly could play a little bit longer depending on, Yeah, and depending on how he fits this system, Antonio Gates, played a very long time, and I believe David Njoku is around the same age as Darren Waller, up in the 30s, but still athletic enough and healthy enough to keep playing. But I got this highlight on just the what he put up against us. That was with Tua Tagovailoa, and Tua is compared a lot with Bryce, and Tua was able to put that up against us And, with that offense, Mike McDaniel's offense was able to, basically work on us. Now, if you're wondering what happened, of trying to remember what happened in the second half of that game, Rico Dotto put up 160 yards in the second half.
That's super stand.
So we got that. We got lucky with some turnovers. And, Darren Waller, PFF, actually, if you look up PFF's grades and refocus on that game, they actually wondered why the Dolphins stopped targeting Darren Waller because he was still open. And so we pretty much, we got lucky with the comeback, but clearly that made an impression on our coaching staff. And with Tua, if he's able to do that, we should be able to do like a similar play style with the Panthers. Tua is compared a lot to Bryce. Or I should say Bryce is compared a lot to Tua. I think a tight end, like I said, a good pass catching tight end that knows where the spots to be at will help Bryce a whole lot. And clearly, like I said, we just don't have that we didn't have that in our tight end room. But just real good signing. If a man making music videos, he might bring some fun energy to the team.
Yep.
Now, do you think we would sign anybody else to the team? A name that's come out a lot lately is Shaq Thompson. Okay, yeah. So Shaq Thompson, he's currently a free agent. They know we have sort of this competition at middle linebacker. Would you consider bringing Shaq Thompson in?
All right, so here's the thing. That makes me wonder because, all right, Shaq Thompson has not gotten any younger since he left. As a matter of fact, he's certainly gotten older. It's been a few years now. I feel like it's a reason possibly why maybe he's a free agent right now. On one hand, it's like Devin Lloyd leading the charge and him already being able to show that he could be, the number one linebacker on the team and really doing what he has to do. It makes me feel like whoever's next to him could be better. Like he possibly can make the other player at their best, and him being able to drive back in the coverage and being so versatile, I think it would cover up things from a lot of other players.
Mm-hmm.
Because of that, it's maybe, but then at the same time, it's how long would Shaq Thompson be an option if that's the case? I feel like we got young dudes on our team. We got Sherrillis, and we got Bam Martin Scott. Are these guys have we seen them with the ones? Have we seen them next to Devin Lloyd? What are they going to do? You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's wondering are we sure that none of those guys could be a younger version of the option? Because Shaq Thompson gonna want some bread.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna want all these things. And I would love for Shaq Thompson to be able to retire a Panther, But at the same time, maybe he just needs to sign that 1-day contract and retire a Panther when it's that time. So that also can happen. But I just feel I don't know, bro. I don't know, because it's are we still dealing with within his prime in any way, Shaq Thompson? If not, I love him. If not, then I want a younger, more equipped option to be on the team right now, standing next to Devin Lloyd, because we don't want to waste Devin Lloyd's capability in this time frame. So that's no knock to Shaq, because I got much love and respect for him. But I just want the best option for us, not just somebody who, he's familiar with our system and he's been here. No, somebody who is really going to be a playmaker. And I want to feel like we got Luke Kuechly and Thomas Davis again. I understand it's that don't happen all the time. But as close as we can get to that, I want that. So, I don't know. What you say, bro?
I wouldn't bring anybody in for the defense. I think defense is good. I think with them, we just need, like you said, look at some of the younger players or players that not starting. I really hope at safety we look at Lathan Ransom and Zachy Wheatley. and that
So
Nick Scott competes for that spot. Um, but yeah, like at middle linebacker, we even got like the guy Jackson Kuwach. Like, look at those
yes,
guys. I don't think we need to bring in anybody on defense. I think the defense will be solid either way. If we were going to
that's
bring
what
in
I like too.
somebody else, if we were, um, it would be somebody else on offense, whether it's like a tackle prospect or another. Well, I don't think quarterback because we brought in Kyle Trask, but yeah, that's just if we wanted to try out another running back, those are only spots I would think about. But I think defense is good, so no to Shaq Thompson. I didn't think he was that good of a linebacker with the Panthers anyway. Um, if it was just a nut, so if it's like another piece or something on offense, I would consider it. But I think with defense, no. So you
You
know
know what I would bring back though?
who?
Jeremy Chin.
Oh, Jeremy Chin. Yeah, is he still with Washington?
I don't know. I was wondering that. I was thinking that.
Let me check right quick. Yes, he's with the
I
Raiders.
always felt like he was too good of an athlete for how we used him.
Yeah. He's currently with the Los Angeles Raiders. Yeah, he sadly he probably wouldn't want to come back with how we we've misused him. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you know, what's you know, let me see free agent wide receivers and who's open. Um,
Can you
right
name more
now.
receivers?
Free agent wide receivers right now. Let me see. Uh, hmm. Do you remember? Would you bring in Curtis Samuel?
Uh, so here's the thing. Ideally, my last memory of these guys, I haven't really followed them like that. I'm not really like sure where Curtis Samuels is right now. Like if Samuels can still be productive, then yeah, I liked him as a receiver when he was here, but he's been gone for some time now. So it's like I need to know, I guess, what his last couple of years production was. How does he fit in this scheme? Like we got a lot of guys, yeah, we got Chris Brazzle down, but other than that, we do have quite a few guys that are like fighting for positions right now. And some of these young guys look pretty good. So who does he take a job from? You think if he does come here?
Um, ooh, if we brought in Curtis Samuel, it'd have to be like somebody. If we thought he could do punt returns or something like that, special teams, so he would probably take Jimmy Horn Jr.'s spot because he was all about speed too. And like you said, I don't know exactly how his play was, um, but that's just a name I would hold on to. Tyreek Hill is still out there, but he's coming. He's got personal trouble, and he recovering from a torn ACL.
Ain't Tyreek Hill had like back to back injuries and stuff
Yeah,
though?
yeah. And he's, Tyreek Hill is going on 33, but he's, like you
Yeah,
said,
I
back to
love
back
Tyreek Hill, but I
injuries.
don't think.
Recent, he got a recent major injury and that he's recovering from, and he has, legal trouble, so he might, you know, face a suspension if he comes back to the league anyway.
See, I like him. Ideally, a healthy prime, Tyreek Hill. Who wouldn't take him? But at this point, I'm just like, I don't know, bro. I don't know that I want like players that's past their prime, serious injury, and injury history, a lot of stuff going on. Like, ideally, I just feel like, all right, we got the young rookie of the year on the team. We got Jalen Coker. Once again, I was excited about Chris Brazzell, but we got a few options. I believe Jimmy Horn is doing this thing. I just think he needs some more burn. They talking about Xavier Legette is looking impressive this year. Hopefully he does.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if now. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we can get Tyreek on like a super team friendly deal and he willing to play his position and he's healthy. I'm not saying I turn that down. I just don't think that I would really invest a lot in Tyreek Hill based on the fact that like his recent history. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can definitely see that. You know, yeah. Like I said, I'm just surprised he's still available. I'm pretty sure like a team, maybe like the Chiefs, would take a flyer on him, maybe like during the season, so his contract's not guaranteed. Um, but like I said, if we did want to look at somebody else, it would have to be on offense to me. And just looking at some of the available players, there's no one on the list that that I think we need. I think, I think it's all mostly coming down to coaching and just how we fit the players and stuff now. So yeah, just we have to see what Canales and the coaching staff, where they put who, and who they line up, and if they think which group is lacking, or which group is doing extremely well. But yeah, man, that's it for this one. Didn't want to hold everybody too long. We're gonna try to do an update before the preseason game Saturday against the Bills. Should be very interesting. We're gonna have DJ Moore. Since the Bills starters are playing, DJ Moore have his first action as a Bills wide receiver. DJ Moore, he admitted he was salty that we traded him to the Bears. So, he might want to, have another welcome home party against us. But, yeah, man, but, more importantly, I just want to see how we come out. I want to see how we come out. Do we come out with fire, or do we come out looking sloppy? Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Yeah, man. But
King, what's the deal with him this game?
He's gonna be out this game, and so it should be it should be a little bit of Bryce, and mostly Kenny Pickett. So it should be mostly Kenny Pickett, and that's also someone else I want to see how he plays, because he actually particularly did not look well in training camp. Looked very up and down. So I want to see how he plays, because he's going to get majority of the snaps during the first half and second quarter. I'm hoping they don't push it all towards Kyle Trask that we just signed. I'd rather, if they do, like Kyle Trask, I hope he just let him play maybe the fourth quarter. I want to see majority Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, because if he going for the second spot and the other guy going for the second spot is down right now, yeah, you need to be playing as much as you can, and then we can check what Kyle Trask doing later on.
Right. So, like I said, we got, after this one, we got 2 more preseason games. So, we'll see, man. We'll see. Yep. But, all right, man, here's your, I haven't said our quote in a minute, but, where Carolina grit meets Southern wit. These are your boys, Big Brother A, Big Brother J. You guys take it easy. That's it. All right, peace.
Peace out, y'all. Be safe.